Cold kills quietly. It doesn't announce itself with explosions or gunfire, and it doesn't care about uniforms, ideology, or rank. During the Cold War, across frozen borders, Arctic listening posts, alpine passes, and damp European forests, soldiers learned a brutal lesson that rarely makes it into popular history. The ground itself was one of the most dangerous enemies they faced. Men could survive firefights and long marches only to lose the battle at night, drained of heat by frozen soil beneath them. What kept countless soldiers alive wasn't advanced weaponry or clever tactics. It was something most people still underestimate today: proper insulation from the ground. That is what we're unpacking here, because this small, overlooked, detail-shaped survival doctrine across the Cold War world, and still matters just as much now. If you value grounded, practical history like this, take a moment to media group, person clicking like on video, thumbs up icon on screen, happy viewer watching history video, Stockholm, distribute, sonna equally like the video. Share it with someone who loves real-world military history. Leave a comment with your thoughts and subscribe to The Hard Past. This channel exists to preserve the lessons that were learned the hard way, and what comes next is one of them. Cold War militaries understood something that civilian outdoor culture often glosses over. Cold air is uncomfortable, but cold ground is lethal. Snow, ice and damp soil act as massive heat sinks, pulling warmth from the body through direct contact. This is conduction, and it works relentlessly whether you're asleep or awake. A soldier could be wrapped in a thick sleeping bag, wearing layers of wool and down, and still lose enough heat through the ground to slip into hypothermia before dawn. Field manuals from both NATO and Warsaw Pact forces repeatedly stressed this danger because it showed up in casualty reports again and again. Men weren't freezing because their clothing failed. They were freezing because the earth beneath them never stopped stealing heat. The sleeping mat was not a comfort item. It was a thermal barrier, and Cold War doctrine treated it as such. Military planners knew that insulation under the body mattered more than insulation above it. When you lie down, your body weight compresses whatever insulation's beneath you. Blankets, straw, and even clothing lose most of their insulating value once flattened. Closed-cell foam and rubberized mats were revolutionary because they resisted compression and trapped air even under full body weight. That trapped air was the real insulation. Soviet, Scandinavian and Alpine-trained NATO units all taught the same rule: no mat, no sleep. Veterans later recalled that forgetting a mat was more dangerous than forgetting a sleeping bag, because a bag without ground insulation was almost useless. Cold War sleeping mats were brutally simple by modern standards, and that was their strength. Engineers prioritized materials that did not absorb water, did not freeze into rigid slabs, and did not fail when damaged. Closed-cell foam didn't soak up moisture, didn't collapse when frozen, and still insulated even if torn or burned. Rubberized mats could be rolled, abused, and dragged across terrain without losing function. This mattered because soldiers rarely operated in clean, dry environments. Snow melted. Ground thawed and refroze. Rain seeped into everything. A mat that absorbed moisture became a liability. One that resisted it became a lifeline. Reliability under neglect was not a design flaw. It was the design goal. During Cold War field training, one rule was really drilled into recruits from the very beginning. The mat goes down before anything else. Before a sleeping bag is unrolled, before any gear is arranged, before boots even come off, ground insulation is placed. Manuals made it clear: cover the torso, hips and shoulders first, since those are the main pressure points where heat loss is honestly the fastest. Pine boughs, brush or spare gear could help add insulation, but they were never considered replacements, only backups. Soldiers learned that, even just a few inches of separation from the frozen ground could mean the difference between waking up functional or not waking up at all. This wasn't just old folklore, it was physics, taught through hard experience. These lessons, they still matter a lot today. Modern outdoor gear often emphasizes things like loft, fill power, and, let's face it, brand prestige. But the Cold War mat teaches a more important principle. Survival is really about managing energy loss, not appearances. Any material that creates air pockets, resists compression, and stays dry under pressure can serve the same function. Foam mats, layered cardboard, dry vegetation, folded clothing, even wooden slats. They all follow the same logic. The top priority is always breaking contact with the ground. Moisture barriers go above insulation, not below it. These aren't just trendy tips. They're time-tested rules, written in cold weather casualty reports. The mat, honestly, represents a broader truth about Cold War military logic. Survival tools didn't need to be impressive. They just needed to work every single time, even under neglect, stress, and bad weather. The most important equipment was often the least glamorous. Studying these objects gives us insight into how militaries planned for the absolute worst-case scenarios, where resupply failed and conditions really deteriorated. For historians, the mat is evidence of practical knowledge earned through suffering. For modern viewers, it's a reminder that simple solutions often outperform complex ones, especially when conditions turn hostile. The ground is, still undefeated. The Cold War sleeping mat endures as a quiet lesson in humility. Technology changes, uniforms change, doctrines shift, but physics does not. Heat still flows from warm bodies to cold earth. Ignoring that reality has ended expeditions, damaged armies, and cost lives. Understanding it, though, has saved countless others. Survival truly does begin from the ground up. If you want more history like this, grounded in real experience and practical truth, subscribe to The Hard Past, share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, and keep these lessons alive. The Earth doesn't care about your intentions, but honestly, understanding it just might save you.